opposition political party leaders. The chain of events will be as follows. We'll start with the national anthem. Second, we'll have the prayer. Third, we'll have introductions. The fourth, we'll have narration of events by President Chilufya Tayali. The fifth submissions will be made by the Socialist Party. The sixth submissions will be made by President Savoy Imboila of the NDC. The seventh submission will be held by President Kasonde Mwenda of the EFF. The eighth submission will be held by Presidential Aspirant Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. The ninth submission will be made by President Sean Tembo of the Patriots for Economic Progress. The 10th issue will be questions from the media houses. Lastly, we'll close with the national anthem and a prayer. To begin with, we'll start with our opening prayer.
Shall we pray? Our kind and loving Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. Dear Lord, we pray that even as we start this meeting, you will be with us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Okay, thank you very much. We may now sing the national anthem. Stand and sing of Zambia, proud and free,
land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for their right. We won freedom's fight. Oh, one strong and free. Praise be to God.
praise be, praise be, praise be.
Praise our great nation,
Zambia, Zambia.
free men we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one strong and free.
Thank you very much. Without much further ado, I would like to call upon President Chilufya Tayali, who's going to give the narration of events. Thank you. Oh, sit somewhere.
So, thank you very much for all of you to come to our humble home. I really appreciate your coming, the media, and especially my brothers and sisters from different political parties. I will not waste time to introduce them. They will be able to introduce themselves, but I just want to say thank you very much for your support that you have run to me when I really need people around. So basically, what happened this morning is that, you know, our yard is divided into two parts. There is the main yard and there is a garden side. But the garden is also fenced, except there is no electric fence on the garden. So I have a gardener who usually come early in the morning to come and do the watering. So he came about 6. Immediately, he took the hose pipe to go to the garden to start watering. As he was just opening the small gate, entering into the garden, he was grabbed by somebody and, you know, held on the neck, according to his explanation, and they put a cloth on his mouth. Then they tied him. I should have brought that wire, which they used to tie him up. Now, when I opened, for me, I went in, but I don't know what happened, but I just went and started looking at the CCTV. So as I was looking there, only to see him being, is carried by these two gentlemen who identify themselves as army officers. They came in front, but I saw them on the CCTV. So immediately, I got alarmed. I came, locked up the houses, the doors, and because I saw the guns, and the guns, they were those rifles. I was very sure they were criminals because I saw that they jumped the fence from this side, So I couldn't think of anything. I just thought, these are thieves. And I went and I armed myself. And I came to the door because I was able to see them from inside on the CCTV, expecting that maybe they'll break the door and enter. And at that point, I was ready to fire. But as I was sitting there, I heard them telling my gardener to say, knock, knock. Then the guy answered, how am I going? He answered in Muchimemba. No manala konkoshesha na munka kila. So I realized my gardener is in front. So I went back at the porch. There is an opening area inside, and I shot in the air just to, alert them that, look, I'm also armed inside here. The moment I did that, I saw one of the guy who was like in front of the Land Cruiser that came in, calling them and telling them to retreat. That's how they jumped into the vehicle. But as they were jumping into the vehicle, they told my guard very clearly. They said, you should tell him to stop talking about us. But then, it's like he was confused, he didn't know. Then the other guy said, now, and then the guys, and they got into the vehicle and left. Pretty much in brief, this is what happened. There were 5 of them. They were carrying, those not AK-47, but those assorted rifles, which you usually see with the army officers. I've never seen that kind of rifle with the police officers. So in brief, this is what happened. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to call upon Father Frank Bolia of the Socialist Party.
I wish to recognize leaders of political parties present. In the interest of time, they will introduce themselves when their turn comes to make an intervention. But my name is Frank Waria, and I recognize all of you from the media and everyone here present. We have listened to Mr. Chilufya Tayali explaining what transpired here at his private residence. As a party headed by Comrade Dr. Fred Membe, we want to say to the Zambian people, through you, the media, that we are shocked about what has happened here. We are very, very shocked. It is not common in Zambia to see this kind of criminality. There are a lot of criminals around that we know. And they are stealing from people's houses, they are killing people, and so on. But when you listen to how our brother, Mr. Tayali, has explained, we have no doubt. We have no doubt with all the footage, CCTV footage that everyone has seen, it's there on social media. We have no doubt that this kind of audacity on the part of those responsible for this criminal conduct, we have no doubt that these are people who are not scared of state police. These are people who are highly professional. These are people who knew what they wanted to achieve, and they had no fear whatsoever of our established police system and other wings that we have to ensure that law and order prevails. This makes us not doubt the fact that these people could be sponsored by some powerful elements, if not the state itself, to perpetrate this kind of notorious criminal behavior. And we want to join all Zambians to condemn what has happened so that this criminal behavior can be nipped in the bud. We also want to say and to remind Zambians that we are living at a time where we have a government that is panicking, a government that has become very unpopular, a government that is in panic mode. And when somebody is panicking, when a government is panicking, anything can happen. That said, we as the Socialist Party, and I'm sure all the political parties present here, including those who for good reasons are not here, would agree with us to demand a thorough investigation of what happened here so that Zambians can not only know the truth, but that they can see the culprits brought to book. This country should not be allowed to degenerate to a point where we should start witnessing extrajudicial killings. God forbid. With these few words and intervention, allow me to give a chance to other leaders who are here present. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to call upon President Sabo Imola of the NDC.
You have just assassinated my name. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure you know today is a holiday, but just when this incident happened, I think we called each other up. I thank God for President Sean Temple here for coordinating us to be here. And all of us felt the need to be here. Why did we feel the need to be here on a holiday? We would have done it tomorrow or any other day. We felt the matter at hand was very, very serious. Something that we have never ever seen before, you know. And every time when you hear some of us saying that the UPND is the worst government that this country has ever had, this is exactly what we mean. The UPND is very, very intolerant. We have never seen a situation whereby cadres or army officials or whatever it was who came here do what they came to do here. This is totally, totally unprecedented and something that needs to be nipped in the bud, like the spokesperson for the Socialist Party said, Comrade Francois here. We can't allow such a thing to happen because, like they say, if it happens to Mr. Tayali today, our president for EFF,
EEP.
Sorry, EEP, it's going to happen to somebody else tomorrow, because that's how they start. They'll start with this one, tomorrow is another person, tomorrow is another person, tomorrow is another person. So as opposition political party leaders, and just the opposition in the country, we are very, very scared with what has happened to him. It's more like it has happened to us individually, because the audacity with which things are happening right now under this government is very, very scary. You can't allow such a thing to happen. Because also, like my comrades have said, the CCTV footage is there. So if really the state is not involved, the people that claimed to be here are really not involved, we hope the investigative wings are going to investigate and find out who exactly was behind that. And those people need to be brought to book. Because as Zambia, we are at a level whereby we are free to speak. You know, if President Tayali says something that you don't like, find ways of addressing that. If I say something that you don't like, find legal ways of doing that. If here, Ambassador Mwamba says what you do, any one of us here, if we say something that you don't like, find something that you don't, find a legal way of doing it. Like they say, democracy is about noise. And if you're a Democrat, you need to love the noise of democracy. That's what one philosopher said. Real democracy is about loving the noise of democracy. So with democracy in this country, we are going to make noise. Whether you like it or not, And if you don't like it, find legal ways of addressing what it is that any one of us says. Just like sometimes also we may not like what you say, but how do we address that in a civilized state? We address it like normal human beings. I won't say much. There are a lot of comrades here who would like to say their parts, of course. But as I go back to my seat, I'd just like to say one thing. The UPND government should be serious and love the noise of democracy. This is an indictment on the law enforcement agencies and the president himself. Because the president receives intelligence information on a daily basis. So even as of now, I'm sure he has been briefed. Who came here? So if the president is serious with democracy and being tolerant of other opposition political party leaders, then he should put his foot down and ensure that what happens here, first of all, we know who really came here, and then that it should not repeat itself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, President Savoy Imboela. I would like to call upon President Kasonde Mwenda of the EFF.
Thank you. I would want to appreciate the presence of the media and the fellow leaders from political parties that have made an appearance here. We know in moments like this one, it might not concern some people and they might find it light. But when you look deeper in a moment like this one, to some of us, it goes deeper because we are all just people. We are all just human beings who love this country and coming forth to give a service with the hope that the little gifting God has given us can take our country somewhere. We do not go into politics because of so many other reasons. There could be people with such reasons, but there are also people, the people that I see here, are people that have gone into these things because we believe in every generation there are people that should stand up and offer leadership. That's all we want. But should that be equivalent to a death sentence? Should it mean that when we step up and offer leadership, we cease not to be human beings? Don't we have families? Should we be followed and threatened like we get paid for what we are doing? No. We chose Zambia to be a democracy. And I want to extend these words to President Hakainde Hichilema. He is one person who gives a testimony of what he went through. And I pray and beseech him that if he be a president that he claims to be, may he look into this matter. Should he make us become so hard-hearted by the time we become leaders? Should we have lost people that we love? Should we come so close to death before we become leaders, such that we become so hard-hearted, such that even when people are crying, we can't feel their pain because we have gone through it? I think leadership should not be like that. That is primitive. That's archaic. I can confess honestly with confidence that President Hakainde Hichilema so far has not showed the statesmanship that he should with the background he has. Most of us have been in cells before, we've been locked up. He has never, not even once, offered police guidance to anyone wanting to protest. He's never given. He's not given anyone. No one, no political leader. The only people on record he has given protection, whatever he calls it, permit, which is even illegal before the law, there's no such thing as a permit, are those people that were demonstrating for gay rights. All of us he has not given, and he has not stood up to credentials. I will not want to tarnish everything he has done. He has done some few good things here and there. But all in all, this is a democracy and we are standing up. What we saw happen here, I came when I was called immediately because I knew it has happened to my comrade Chilufya here. Tomorrow it will happen to me. I don't own guns. I could have a small gun, but I don't own guns. I've got little kids at home. Should they live in fear just because we are pursuing this? So what we are doing is a noble cause to advance the interest of Zambia, to make Zambia great. President Hakainde Hichilema will not be there forever. If the playing field for politics becomes so animated, such that people that are of noble cause start fearing to endeavor in this, then it's just allowing criminals to replace us. Because we don't want to die. We want to save. We want to be part of the progress of this country. We want to see success in our lifetime, but it should not be equivalent to a death sentence. So we send a message that what has happened here is within the ambit of the government. They can investigate. Them failing to investigate this is actually a confirmation of their mediocrity, because something like this can happen in a land where you're a leader and you failed to come to terms of who did what. Then you don't deserve to be a president. So if it doesn't get to the detail of what happened here, then it doesn't deserve. And according to his words, then it should be gotten rid. It should be voted out in 2026. So we want to echo the words, say what has happened here, we don't want it to exceed beyond here, and we need answers. Without wasting much time, I want to appreciate the media and everybody, and we pray that this shall really stand up to be witness to us. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to call upon Patriotic Front Presidential Aspirant Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba.
Colleagues that are here, I was called by my Vice President, Honorable Given Lubina, that I could represent the party here. Honorable Sean Tembo, colleagues, thanks for coordinating this Solidarity Joint Press Conference. For us, we've been crying to the Zambians. We've been under attack from day one. You must have seen the lawlessness that characterized the so-called corruption investigations. The law enforcement agencies, without warrants, stormed the homes of most leaders of the Patriotic Front. Even when the law prescribes how they can do an investigation, they traumatized children, they burgled into homes, broke doors, broke gates. And I think there was euphoria. It was after elections, and the PF had just lost elections. And no matter how much we raise this issue, I think people didn't pay attention because they didn't think that President Hakainde Hichilema's government would descend into lawlessness that early. Now it has become apparent. There is a key matter which is now being discussed everywhere. The case of Kwacha and Kamushi by-elections, where with the coordination of State House, ECZ, and the courts of law, including then the police, stole the 2 seats without shame. You have seen the judgment from the Constitutional Court that has ruled that the 2 candidates were eligible. I'm bothering to go back to the background to understand. You have to understand why purported officers of the law were here. You have to lay the background to demonstrate that the lawlessness has been from day one. Ignore the rhetoric. The president was on hand when he swore in Kajoba, and he said he didn't want lawlessness in bus stops, markets, and in by-elections. But you know that the violence has even been escalated. Look at the last by-elections. Our dear brother, Comrade Dr. Fred Membe, was forced to draw a weapon in Serenge because the hordes of cadres were attacking in the presence of the police. And who did they arrest? They didn't arrest the cadres that perpetrated the violence. They instead arrested Comrade Fred Membe. You saw how the UPND cadres attacked our camps in Chilufya and even injured our people, including the former Minister of National Planning, Honorable Alexander Chiteme. Then there is these attacks that are led by the president, who attacks His Excellency the President himself, attacks citizens. He will hold a press conference, attack Nakachinda. What are you saying to law enforcement agencies? Of late, it is even bad. The attacks are now directed at the former president, President Edgar. When the president was opening a meeting at Mulungushi to resolve the issues around CDF, he went for President Lungu, who was not the agenda or part of the meeting. He said, what does it mean? I will not allow you to. And when the president says, I will not allow you to, what does that mean? He has since repeated these threats against the former president. If you see any attack on former President Lungu, what will you conclude? Because the president has vowed that he will never allow President Lungu anywhere near politics, as if that he is the constitution himself. President Lungu has put it very clear, he's in retirement, he's waiting to hand over power to whoever the party will elect. But that still doesn't settle President Hakainde Hichilema. So the unwarranted attacks against the former president are totally unjustified. So when you see the narration that has been done by Comrade Chilufya Tayali here, this is totally criminal. There should be a proper formal investigations against these attacks. And they need to understand that we are part of democracy. They just hosted the Democracy Summit. What does it mean? You have to allow freedom of the press. You have to allow the opposition and divergent views to reign. If any of us break the law, take us to the police, take us to a court of law. But you can't send criminals, because I don't think soldiers will do that. Zambian soldiers are known to be very disciplined. So whoever, if they are among security officers from the Zambia army, is involved in this crime, they should be flushed out. And Chilufya, my brother Chilufya Tayali, you have to remember, there were kids who made a video in Chiengi in Wapula. And people need to remember the pattern. Who went to arrest those kids and beat them up? If those soldiers been arrested, if those soldiers been brought to court for assault, when do soldiers get involved in civil matters? So people might forget that soldiers went and picked these kids who they thought had insulted the president. But the law was there. And what has happened to those soldiers? I've never seen any court charges against them. So what happened this morning, like, this is Labor Day. An attack to one is an attack to all. We have to stand in solidarity. What has happened to Chilufya Tayali and what has consistently been happening to the Patriotic Front from day one, Zambians need to wake up. Because when it was happening to the PF, whatever, maybe PF now left cheater, so they let them take their own bitter medicine. But human rights violations remain that, human rights violations. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to call upon President for the Patriots for Economic Progress, President Sean Jembo.
Good afternoon, countrymen and women. Afternoon. Afternoon. What happened this morning is something that is very worrisome from whichever angle you look at it. And from our standpoint, if it wasn't for the CCTV footage which President Tayali posted on his page, we might not have believed what he was saying. But we saw it. It was very, very clear. The people came, they forced the gate open, others were coming from behind, and it can be seen from the CCTV footage that that was a coordinated attack. Now, there are a few salient issues about this particular attack. Number one is the issue that it happened at home. Ever since we joined politics, we've had all sorts of political violence, all sorts of attacks take place, but this is the first attack that I can think of where a political leader was followed at home. So it is unprecedented, so to speak. It was a home invasion. And that is one of the reasons why, for me, I had to abandon whatever it is I was doing to be part of this press conference. Because such conduct, if we don't address it from the very beginning, it will become normal. It will become normal to go to President Kasonde's house and attack him and his family. It will become normal to go to President Samoei's house and attack her and her family. That's why we saw it necessary to come here this afternoon. The other aspect about this particular attack, as evidenced from these pictures, these still pictures which were taken from the CCTV footage, is that when you look at the vehicle that was used, which is a brand new Toyota Land Cruiser double cab, this is a very expensive vehicle. You look at it, it's a very expensive vehicle. This vehicle at Toyota Zambia will cost not less than $100,000. So when you convert that, that is close to 2 million kwacha. So the question then arises, what kind of thief comes to a home like Chilufya Tayali's home here in a 2 million kwacha vehicle to steal what? To steal this table? or to steal this chair? What kind of thief? So from the vehicle itself, you can tell that these people are unlikely to be common criminals. Number two, when you look at the person who is behind there, who climbed behind the Land Cruiser, and the firearm that this person is carrying, this firearm is not a very common firearm. This firearm is a submachine gun, a 6-hour MPX submachine gun. These types of firearms are not common here in Zambia. And all the people who came, all 5 of them were carrying the same submachine guns. Now, for those of us who pay attention to different types of firearms, for those of us who are familiar with firearms, there is only one wing that we know of in Zambia which carries that particular type of firearm. It is not the Zambia police, because the Zambia police generally carry AK-47s. It is not the Zambia National Service. It is not the regular Zambia Army. No. All of them carry conventional AK-47s. The only wing, if you pay attention during state events and such events, the only wing which carries this type of firearm in Zambia are the Zambia Special Forces, commonly known as commandos. Pay attention. When you see those soldiers with the maroon berets and you pay attention to the firearms that they carry these submachine guns. We are not, personally, I'm not saying that I'm 100% sure that the people in the photo are Special Forces, Zambia Army Special Forces. I'm not saying that because the photo is not very clear. But what I'm saying is that it looks likely, it looks very likely that the people in the photo are Zambia Army commandos. That is what I'm saying. Number 3, when you view the CCTV footage, which President Tayali posted on his page, most of the footage doesn't have sound, but the one which I looked at direct from the DVR has sound. And one thing that you are going to observe on the CCTV footage is that while President Tayali was firing shots in rapid succession in the air, these people were not afraid. They were not running. They were strolling to their vehicles undisturbed. And I can assure you, countrymen and women, as a former police officer, that an average criminal, when they hear the sound of a gunshot, even if they are also carrying a firearm, they will run like no man's business. They will run. They will scamper. Just one gunshot. President Tayali fired more than 10.
I did three shots.
Three gunshots. And those people were just walking leisurely to their vehicle. That alone speaks volumes in terms of who the possible people behind this attack are. Number 4. When you look at these people and the way they opened the gate on the CCTV, you can tell that they are professional.
Yes. Yes.
They are very professional. Not every common criminal can open a locked gate within less than a minute. It's open and it's out. So all those factors speak to who the potential attackers are. That having been said,
They were covered in masks.
yes. That having been said, I think there is a high possibility that the people who attacked President Chilufya Tayali this morning are people from the defense wings, are people it is very possible that the people who attacked President Tayali are people from the Zambia army. It is very possible that the people who attacked President Tayali are people from the special forces. The probability is very high. Very, very high. A fifth issue, salient issue, which you would like to pay attention to, is the fact that this particular video, CCTV footage by President Tayali was posted early in the morning, as early as around 8 hours.
Yes.
And there has been no police reaction up to this time. What is the time now? Who has a watch?
1740.
From 8 hours to 1740, no police reaction. And yet, you can see that there are 5 armed people. And I can assure you that in terms of the Zambia police, ordinarily, when they are operating ordinarily, not under instructions, political instructions, but when they are operating ordinarily, any cases involving firearms, the response is very, very, very fast. They will delay on other types of cases, but when you report or when they see an incident trending on social media where firearms are used, you see the flying squad land here within minutes to find out, to investigate the matter, to get that CCTV footage so they can identify the criminals, whether they are non-criminals who have done robberies at shopping malls or this and that. They will be very active. So the question which you, the Zambian people, must be asking yourselves is, why are the police quiet on this matter? Why are the police quiet on this matter? It speaks volumes. To me, it is indicative of the fact that the police have been instructed that this is a state matter and they should not intervene. That's what it appears to me. That is what it appears to me. That having been said, I want to take this opportunity to appeal to my fellow opposition, most of whom are here, that we need to always remain united as opposition. We always need to remain united. For us to remain united, we don't need to agree with one another. No. It is not possible for us to agree with one another 100%. That is why each one of us has a political party. Because we don't agree with one another 100%. We have individual political parties. But when issues of common interest arise, we should not check the name of the person involved and say, it is Savoy. Savoy, I disagreed with her that day. It is Chilufya Tayali. I didn't like what Chilufya Tayali said in his evening video the other day. It is President Sean Tembo. I didn't like President Sean Tembo calling Oyumambara Mfwiti. It should never be like that. It should never be like that. When issues of common interest arise, we should all unite. We should put our political differences aside and make sure we are there for one another. Otherwise, these people will finish us. One by one. They will finish us. That having been said, I want to also take the opportunity to thank you, the media. I'll hand over to the Director of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you so much, leaders of the opposition. At this point, we'll be taking questions from members of the press or anybody available in this meeting. Thank you.
No questions, eh?
Just maybe one question to you, Mr. Tayali. I just want to find out if this matter has been reported.
Sorry?
If you reported this matter.
If I've reported this matter.
Because the court,
yes. Frankly speaking, maybe I'm shocked. Yeah, so the question is, have I reported this matter? As you know, this has been quite traumatizing and scary for me. I have just been in the house. I've not even been able to come out. Even those journalists who came for, my brother Frank, when they came, I was scared to go out. So I was waiting for my brothers to escort me to go to the police because I have been scared. So I haven't gone, but we are going soon after this press conference.
Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen?
And I just want to emphasize from the points that Sean Tembo brought out. You see, these people, when they came, all of them, they were masked. They were all masked. They were looking like ninjas. You could only see the eyes. All of them. All of them. Now, if really these people were whatever, if they were common criminals, they wouldn't have been that casual during the day and masked up, you know. From my point of view, I want to say, I don't want to sound inflammatory, but I feel this was an attempt on my life. I strongly believe this was an attempt on my life. Because if they had gotten me and bundled me in their car, and I believe those were military, do you think they would have taken me, beaten me up, and left me to tell the story? I don't think so. Whoever those people, if they had accessed me and taken me wherever they would have taken me, I don't think they would have left me alive to tell the story. I don't think so. So from my point of view, I strongly believe how everything happened. I think those people were attempting on my life. And it's really sad. Under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. It's really sad.
And in responding to the question that you have raised, which is very important, we have a duty to report such matters when they happen. But there is also an appreciation of who we are. We have put ourselves up there. There are moments we don't even need to report by virtue of us crying because we speak for people. Let me give an example. If today I utter defamatory remarks which are injurious or criminal, trust me, they will look for me, they'll find me. Then why should it be that when I'm under attack, then I have to go and report? But if I wrong, they will look for me. So we feel the state, by law, has got a duty to look after him. It has got a duty to look after the citizens. So the very essence that the state has not made effort to protect the citizens whom they have not only called ordinary citizens, but whom they have thrust responsibility to be spokesperson for the people like us politically. We are not common people. We sacrifice for this country and there is law enough to protect us. So the state doesn't need to be begged to come and protect us. When we are attacked, the state should stand up and defend us. So if they will give them excuse to say no because Mr. Tayali has not reported, then they are failing in their duty. A person who's aggrieved, beaten by the road, may not have the energy to go and report, but the state should look at such people as their property and move in whenever they are afflicted.
Just to put it on record also, I actually called the 911. During the time when they were here, I called 911. I couldn't go through. I called another police officer who I know, I have his number. I called him and I was talking to him, the phone cut. So at least I made an attempt to reach out to the police, to cry to the police. And even during the day, I've been crying to the police, but they haven't come. And yet, the only people that have come are my brothers from the political, arena, as well as yourselves. But no phone call from the police, nothing.
Thank you very much. As we come to an end and close of this joint press briefing, I would like to ask Madam Precious to help us with a closing prayer. One more announcement, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be going to Roma Police as we offer solidarity to President Chilufya Tayali. Thank you. Madam
So you can follow us to Roma Police as if you wish, as we file the report, and then from there we can discuss. Those were about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.